Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm going to be going over the dual toxicist. Now, the dual toxicist, in my opinion, is probably one of the strongest incarnate weapons in the game. I know everyone says that about like every weapon in Warframe, but these things actually are pretty insane. So, what we're going to do is we're just going to hop right into the build. So, this is, these act just like every other incarnate. You hit headshots, it charges the thing, you click the alt fire, and it goes into auto fire mode with ricochet. So, for the second evolution, we are going to be picking either the increased base damage by plus 60, plus 33% direct damage per status type affecting the target, or you increase base damage by 50 and then on an ability cast, you get plus 5 multi-shot and it stacks up to 20 times. If you would like to run Fevered Frenzy, you can. I prefer running Carnage Rain. That's just my opinion. If you want to run Fevered Frenzy, be my guest. But personally, I no. I mean, I can definitely see a reason for running Fevered Frenzy because in any mission that you go into, you most likely will be popping abilities a lot, which is fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. I just prefer this because it is a consistent, this is what you can expect in every mission, whereas this is, if you're in a mission and you're not popping abilities enough, you are now kind of like capping yourself in a way because you're not, you let's put it this way, you got to go into a mission and pop an ability 20 times just to get this thing to be like at its full potential, whereas with this you can just run it and you're good. You don't have to do anything. It's already there, it's already ready, and that's it. So for the third evolution, you can either pick on reload from empty, get plus 100% reload speed, plus 50% magazine reloaded when holstered, or minus 50% weapon recoil. If you are going to pick the third one, then you can take stabilizer off this build if you're going to pick that. Um, I also don't recommend picking the third because this thing already has no recoil once it's like, Incarnate is procced. So, or not the Incarnate, but once the actual like Frenzy perk is active, it has like zero recoil. So, the second one I'm actually going to change. I don't know why I picked Evolved Autoloader. This is kind of bad. Definitely on reload from empty, you get 100% reload speed. This is definitely going to be the one to pick. For the fourth and final evolution, you can either pick to increase the base critical chance by 20%. For this build, this is going to be obsolete and useless. Neurotoxin, which I don't know why you wouldn't pick this, on headshot plus 70% toxin for 3 seconds. I don't know why you wouldn't pick this one, but whatever. And then on kill plus 3 punch through. This one, this one is interesting. I will say that this one actually has a little bit of, I know I just said, oh, why wouldn't you pick this one? But this one, the fact that it gives punch through will make this thing pretty potent. Uh, and it'll make it challenge AoE weapons, and the fact that this will now be ripping through enemies instead of just, stopping on the first enemy that it hits. Either the second or the third, entirely up to you. For this build specifically, I will say having the Ripper rounds is actually going to be redundant because you're not really leaning into it as much as you'd think, because we already have a mod that's going to be increasing punch through. So we're going to go with Neurotoxin. For the build itself, this is what we are running. Feel free to replace Steady Hands with this. Feel free to do that because you won't need it. So this weapon's unique trait is Frenzy. I'm not going to bother reading it because you can read it right there. Headshots, grant, whatever. Yep. And then for the mods, feel free to pause at any point if you need to, view them or read them or anything like that. This is going to be an Enervate build. And the reason why is because this thing is already going to have innate toxin due to its frenzy perk. And the fact that this thing combines with mods, which it says right there at the bottom, toxin will combine with mods, means the only thing that we actually need to mod this weapon for is either cold or electricity, depending on if you want this thing to do viral or corrosive. I prefer corrosive. You know, feel free to change that if you'd like. We are running, well, sorry, due to Enervate giving us all of the crit chance we could ever need, we are going to be ramping up the crit damage as much as we can to make this thing absolutely just shred. The punch through is going to be so that this thing can actually, keep up with some AoE weapons. It can actually just, can make it so it'll actually go through enemies and things like that. And then also, and you could argue that, oh, you don't need this because it has ricochet. Okay, but it also has plus critical damage. So that's also a neat thing to have. And then magnetic might, just because if you're taking this thing into really high levels, being able to deal that additional magnetic damage to Overguard is really nice. And it also gives plus critical damage. So this mod is really nice to have if you don't want to run magnetic might, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you don't want to run it, you could put something else there. I genuinely don't know what you would put there. I guess whatever you want, whatever floats your boat, you can put it there. Maybe, definitely not an element, but it's up to you. I'll let you figure out what you want to put there. If you want to put accelerated isotope, sure, I guess. If you want to do pistol elementalist, I don't recommend it. If you want to do sure shot, sure, I guess. Anemic agility, I also don't recommend because you're already getting fire rate from the unique perk. And pistol acuity, no. So yeah, I don't know what else you'd put here, but feel free to put whatever you want. And with all that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and show you all the damage right now. So I did have to put a forma into this thing to, or I had to put a forma into it recently, so that I could actually make it so Merciless Gunfight would be able to be on here. So this is gonna be the damage it does. If the recoil is too much, feel free to put stabilizer. But this is the damage that this thing is outputting. So yeah, not much to say there. I can't really go any further than that until they make simulacrum changes. So the only thing left to do now is go to the Steel Path gameplay. Hope you all enjoy.